Good evening, everyone. Friday night, and I'm going to be totally honest with you all. I've had the weirdest intro sequence ever because I left a tab open on another window. So I had two intros playing. I had the one that we got on the StreamYard and the one on YouTube. I was panicking. I was stressing. I was like, is this a bad audio experience for everyone? Fortunately, it was just me being an idiot. Tonight, I've got Chaz. Chaz, what are we on? Like 3 in a row now? Is that
Yeah,
right?
we're on form. We're an unstoppable partnership up front for up the Poshcast on these countdown to kickoffs.
Yeah, we are, aren't we? So I think I've got a few notices to kick us off with, don't I? I think first and foremost, I wanted to say thank you to Lou Daniels for his donation. It was actually last week, and we didn't mention it on the countdown to kickoff or the final whistle episode. We are, of course, appreciative of everybody that makes a donation to Up the Podcast, everybody that buys a pin badge, everybody that subscribes to the channel, or everybody that interacts with our content. And my second notice is that I need to apologise to Tom O'Connor, don't I? I, of course, said in Final Whistle when we recorded, maybe it was a little bit heat of the moment, but I also did acknowledge that it was incredibly salacious at the time, that I thought he wasn't injured. It appears that I was wrong on that one. So, Tom O'Connor, I am sorry. Hopefully, your recovery is good because, as DMAC said when we went on the Hard Truth podcast with him, I think that we're meant to be signing Tom O'Connor on a permanent, aren't we, potentially? Or DMAC was confident of it. I don't know whether this will hinder it at all. Chaz, any thoughts?
Well, yeah, that's first of all terrible news for Tom O'Connor. What was it? Looking like a really long-term one. Hopefully we're back before the end of the season, but you never know. Hamstrings are, God, how many hamstring injuries have we had? They are ruining our season. But yeah, I did think that was a risky comment to make when you made it, Ash. And it actually looks like, Tom O'Connor is claiming at least that the injury was part of the reason why he'd lost, why he lost the ball to Tolai on Saturday. So if that is the case, then yeah, we do owe him a big apology. Still wasn't a good performance for him, but yeah, safe recovery to Tom O'Connor. And it does leave us, how are we light at the back again? Well, we are, despite having signed, feels like more centre backs than is sensical. We are still, struggling for numbers at the back. But listen, it's all part of the fun and games, isn't it? It's all part of Peterborough United this season, and I'm on the roller coaster and I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I am as well. And do you know what? It's just another bump in the road, isn't it? But it's an incredibly bumpy road this season. I don't think that we have anything else to discuss pre-match, do we? Before we bring in our Wycombe guest, so shall we get?
Yeah, I was just going to say, other than our fun event last night that we went to, which was really enjoyable, we went to a club sponsors event and we had a great time with all the great people at the foundation and Free Kicks. So yeah, thank you to all of them who organised that. That was a great time, and yeah, good fun.
No, I think we should comment on that further later, shouldn't we, Chaz? Later on in the program when it's just us two again, and we can discuss everything that happened in that evening. But let's not keep our first guest waiting any longer. I'm going to bring in George. George is the Wycombe Way on X. George, you want any other socials?
I've dabbled in them all over the years. Got bored and then just went back to X. So it is just X.
X is the banker, isn't it? I think we always find that our strongest content goes out on X. It gets the most impressions and it's the easiest way to interact with people. So do you want to just tell everyone about the Wycombe Way? Obviously, we know that you're not particularly active on it at the moment due to life changes, but do you want to tell everyone what the Wycombe Way was?
Yeah, as you say, life gets in the way. It was 8 years old this Christmas, and it was a mixture of everything. Podcasts, we did live streams, there were match updates. It was just sort of everything rolled into one account or channel. Something I enjoyed doing over the years. As you say, life gets in the way. So we're expecting a little boy. So a lot of my time and emotion is going into getting prepped for that. It means I've been able to go to slightly less football games. And after 8 years of churning out content, I just wanted to sort of watch the games in a different way again. I want to be on that terrace, sort of giving it large and enjoying the game with mates rather than having to update Twitter every 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I don't think there would have been a lot of giving it large in the start of the season. It was a rough start for Wycombe this year, wasn't it, under Mike Dodds?
Yeah, for every, I guess, Kieran McKenna or coach that comes out of academy, you're going to get a Mike Dodds or a Lee Grant who just can't sort of hack it in a head coach role. Lovely chap, and his ideas were all correct, and he spoke properly. And you could see what he was trying to do. But I think it sounds cliche, but you need to know how to win, and he just didn't. In League One, I think you can play a certain brand of football, and it might pick up results here and there, but you've got to be very good at the nitty gritty. You've got to have physicality in there, and he chose substance over that a little bit. He brought in players who were good technically, but physically not up to scratch. And in the end, I think the defeat to you guys was just one too many. I know at the time we were both sort of lingering down the bottom together, weren't we? And it was after that game he got the sack. So, sometimes it just doesn't work out. I think it was the right idea to go for a young, upcoming head coach. But like I say, for everyone that succeeds, you get one that fails.
Yeah, I mean, we dubbed on Countdown to Kickoff for the last Wycombe game, that game an El Sacico, and it turned out to be for Mike Dodds. I mean, it wasn't much of a reprieve for Fergie, who went, just over a month and a half later. But you're under Michael Duff now, who's looks to have turned it around for you guys a little bit.
Yeah, and it's like I said, he's just someone who knows how to win. He's managed a lot of games in League One, so he knows what it takes to win games at this level. He brought back in that physicality and that ugliness to our game that we were lacking. The football's not quite as pretty to watch as it was early in the season. A few more long and direct balls forward. But what we're not doing is giving away chances. We are creating more chances at the top end of the pitch, and we're just far more clinical and robust in both boxes rather than sort of fanning about trying to walk it into the goal.
Yeah, George, we said before we went live that Wycombe teams of times gone by, certainly ones that I've watched in the last sort of 3 or 4 years, it was always very much like not the most attractive football, was it, under Gareth Ainsworth, and probably similar, I would say, under Bloomfield as well, right? But that's definitely changed over the last sort of 12 months, hasn't it? What can we expect from Wycombe tomorrow?
Yeah, we're still direct, but it's not the aimless long balls that it was under Ainsworth. Again, Bloomfield tried to sort of bring in a little bit of change. Again, we were still direct and went forward with purpose. We tried that daft goalkeeper kickoff thing where they pass it out to the defender, and just play around in the box for a few seconds. In the end, we just hoof it forward. So, you can see they're trying to evolve, trying to keep up with the times, but ultimately we keep going back to this direct football that just works at this level if you've got the right players involved. We're still tinkering with formations a little bit. I don't think he's quite settled on his shape. I think the last couple of weeks of the January window will give him some more options per se. Even as a Wycombe fan, I'm not entirely sure what we're going to get tomorrow. I'm never sure what we're going to get ahead of a game, which I guess adds to the excitement a little bit more.
Yeah, George, do you think that, like we always say that Posh play a certain type of way, do you think that it's difficult for Wycombe to get away from that style of football? Like, it's so easy for a manager when it's going wrong, let's say, like that it's easy to fall back into that because the Wycombe fans appreciate it, I guess, because it gets results, doesn't it? Do you think that it's just like a default, this is how Wycombe play football, no matter how many times a manager tries, they're never really going to get away from it because the expectation is that the fans want to watch that, don't they?
In a way, like you said, we are used to it to a certain degree, but also because it works at this level, if you're going through a rough patch, you just sort of default back to it, don't you? And then you sort of pick up a few wins, and then you ask yourself the question of, why didn't I do this all along? Mike Dodds, he came in, he tried to get the ball on the floor, pass it around, intricate processes and get it down and play football. He brought in a goalkeeper who was good with his feet. He brought in defenders from across Europe who were used to playing out from the back, and it just doesn't work at this level. Once you get a team like yourselves who are sort of quick and I guess small up front, who can put you under pressure, it doesn't work. But long balls, especially when you've got physical players up top, you win those knockdowns. You get tidy players out wide and sort of in that attacking midfield role, and you just get joy. I think it's a mix of us being used to it, and and also you just tend to default to it because it's how to get out of this division.
Yeah, and what are the aspirations now for the rest of the season? Obviously, when you played us, you were right down at the bottom. It was looking rough, but now you've got actually, I think you're 3 points off the playoffs. So what are the aspirations? Are they still the promotion that you were looking for before the start of the season?
I think it has to be. I don't want to say the league is weak like everyone else does. Everyone sort of looks at how tight it is and where the teams at the top are and says it's a weak division. I don't think it is. I think it's just evenly spread this year. I think you'd still be sort of hard pressed to pick a top 6 and a bottom 4. I think it's that tight. So yeah, there's no reason why we can't sneak into those top 6. And with a good rest of the January window, there's I think there's still a slim chance that anyone in that top half can get second up there with Cardiff. So we'll sort of see what happens. Again, it's cliche, but one game at a time. And I guess most of it depends on what we do in the next 2 weeks of the window.
Yeah, and who are we looking out for then tomorrow from a Wycombe perspective? Who are the danger men, or who are the players that are going to, defend fantastically? What are the highlights of your team?
The man in form is Fred Onyedinma, as he so always is. Very well known at this level and at championship level. When he's in the form that he is right now, you sort of question why he's in League One, because he should be playing higher up the pyramid. Obviously, he played a few games in the Premier League for Luton a couple of years ago. A mainstay in our team over the years when he's sort of been here. I think it's his 4th spell now. So we're used to seeing him. He's used to being here. He's always a danger man and a tricky customer. And one of our new signings from last winter, Anders Hagerslar, is a Danish centre half who took his time to get up to speed, but now he looks like a Rolls Royce at this level. More than good enough for the Championship if we ever get there, but certainly at League One level, a really, really good player.
George, we've had a question come through about your new owner, and if I'm right, so I can't remember the guy's name, but he used to be the media guy at Wycombe. He's now the media guy at Reading. Mm-hmm. He basically said that the new owners are quite understated, aren't they? That you've not really seen a great deal from them. Do you know what their aspirations are for the football club going forwards?
I think overall the aims are a little bit higher than what we can achieve realistically. So you sort of got the guy pumping money into the club is Michael Duff. He's a Georgian billionaire, sort of money coming out of his earballs. I think in terms of English football as a sole owner, he's top 5 in terms of net worth. And then he's got 2 guys underneath him who sort of run everything on a football club level. So Dan Rice is the interim chairman. He's done a lot of work in academies at Premier League level, which I think is one of their main areas they want to improve. Wycombe haven't had an academy for many, many years. I think 2011 it closed down. Only last summer did we get it back up and running. So I think that's at the forefront of their minds, is to have an academy coming through to sort of churn out the young talents and raise profits that way. And they've always said that 5-10 years time, there's no reason why they can't do a Bournemouth or an Ipswich and go sort of up to the Championship and then beyond again. And it might sound silly and it seems a million miles away, which it does. And so it's going to be a lengthy process if they don't get bored, as many owners have done over the years. But I think ultimately the end goal is to be a Premier League side and to be self-sustainable through the academy.
George, there's one man that I'd want to bring up because I'd love to know your opinion on him, and that's Will Norris. Obviously, I've looked back. He's definitely he's your first choice goalkeeper, isn't he? Yeah. Can we discuss him? Because obviously his look, I didn't dislike Will Norris. I thought that he was an okay goalkeeper for the time when he was at Posh, but obviously everybody remembers his last game for Peterborough United, which was at Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, the only time that you ever see a goalkeeper on Sky Sports News or on his socials is when they've had a clanger. And unfortunately, Will Norris has plenty of them, doesn't he? What are your thoughts on him in terms of being Wycombe's number 1?
Lucky for Norris, I don't think he's had quite as many clangers as some keepers for us over the years. So in terms of my sort of goalkeeper top 10, he's still quite high up the list. He's just very Marmite. I don't know if you've seen the clips from Boxing Day and the game at Plymouth. He cost us points in those 2 games. But then the next game again, he goes and pulls off a wonder save to get us the 3 points. So he's very much like that. Should he be our number one? I'm not so sure. I think he's sort of nearing early 30s now. When we've got a 21-year-old keeper on our books who we've brought in to be our number one long term. And so I don't really understand playing Norris, who's not going to be here for that much longer, when you've got that young keeper who you can sort of nurture and mature up to our number one for many, many years to come. But, at this level, when he's on it, you don't get many better shot stoppers. But he's always got that mistake in him, which I think is probably what stopped him from playing higher up the pyramid.
And just one more from me, George. Posh fans that are watching now or listening on their way tomorrow, what is... Now, Harry will kill me if I don't say this. You're on the end of an industrial estate, aren't you?
Yeah.
Sands Park Industrial Estate FC is what he calls you. What are your top tips for Posh fans, A, in Wycombe, and B, when they head to that industrial estate, when you guys have got like a fan zone, is that right?
Yeah, we're quite nice to the away fans. You get your own beer marquee and there's food trucks outside the ground. You always get those posts on the sort of the EFL banter groups, or which is the worst away day in EFL. And I'm so glad I can't say Wycombe because it's a home game. But I'm sure for 99% of away fans, it's Wycombe, because I can imagine it's just a nightmare to get to. The train station.
Can I pause you there? No, do you know what? I actually love going to Wycombe. I love parking on the hill. I love where I'll be sat tomorrow, which is just behind the disabled spots. So you've still got a front row seat. You're slightly elevated. I don't think it's a really good away day, even if Posh are always fucking shit when we go there. Chaz, go on. You want to disagree with me, don't you?
Well, I wrote an article in the week about like the away days that we've got coming up, and I said that Wycombe is my least favourite away day in the league, so that basically covers it. I mean, it's all right. Like, it has less potential to be terrible than some of the away days in the league, but it also has less potential to be good. Like, it's always going to be just below average, which is the issue. It's just, locationally not very good. I mean, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir right now, George. As you said, you're just lucky it's a home game for you. But yeah, it's not my favourite place to go by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, you're the lucky ones because you only get to go once a season. Doing it every week, it takes its toll. The parking's a nightmare. It's nowhere near the town centre. Everything's expensive outside the ground. So my advice is to get there early, get a decent parking space within the industrial estate. Otherwise, you're parking on a hill and walking. Bring a packed lunch, and if you get in the train into Wycombe, then stop at the Spirits in the town centre. Don't go and drink at the ground because it'll cost you an arm and a leg.
Wow. Hopefully Posh fans won't need to drink too much tomorrow to drown their sorrows. Based on recent Wycombe aways, you will never know. I'm going to ask you, George, first of all, what are you expecting from Posh? And then if you can tie that up with what is your score prediction for tomorrow's game?
I think from Posh, I associate you with a small, quick team. I know you've got one of the Lisby brothers who seems to have spawned in out of nowhere over the years. There's just so many of them running around English football nowadays. Again, Jimmy J. Morgan is a small guy who's very quick on his feet. Same with Leonard up front. So I think you'll put us under pressure. I think there's big potential there for some good sequences of play. I'm not expecting that to trouble our backline too much, if I'm honest. So I will back a Wycombe win. But Posh are one of those tricky customers that you never really know what you're going to get. You never know which version are going to turn up. They'll either play us off the park or sort of just bend over and take one. But I think I'll go 3-1 Wycombe tomorrow.
So bend over and take one then tomorrow is what you're going with. Similar to 3-1, to be fair, that's a very safe prediction for Wycombe when Posh visit, isn't it? I think like 2 of the last 3 visits have been 3-1. I then also think that the only other one was when was it 5-2? Was that the day that Velo had a bit of a shocker?
The Velo one.
Yeah. A cult legend forever in that game.
Yeah, I bet he is. George, there's a quick one that's fired in. You're still in the Virtue Trophy, is that right?
No, we're out of that.
Oh, well, Rafty stitched me up big time there.
Yeah, out of that.
Unlucky. At least
we
we
don't
built
bother with
you.
that one anymore.
At least we beat you at Wembley, right? It doesn't matter if we can't win at the Sands Park Industrial Estate. We've got the one that matters. We've got the back-to-back
You've got
trophy.
your virtue trophy, yeah.
Are those Spanish fans that were at Wembley, have they been over yet this season? Those Spanish Wycombe ultras?
They haven't actually. That's a very good point. I think our awful start early in the season has sort of scared them all off. So they've gone to watch some decent football back home, but I'm sure they'll be over again soon.
That's a shame. Anyway, thanks for joining us, George.
Thank you, George.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thanks for coming on.
I've just realised something really embarrassing. While George was giving his score prediction, I'm actually wearing this inside out. So I'm gonna just just gonna change that around. So give me one moment.
Okay, I'll fill, shall I?
Yeah, just fill for me.
Just keep changing. Just keep swimming, eh? Like what is it, Dory that said that on Finding Nemo, is it? Where are we gonna go? Oh yeah, do you know what? That's one thing that we missed in. Before we bring him down, can we bring up front versus bottom gate?
Oh my goodness.
Are we allowed to? I'm not gonna get anybody to accuse me of anything, am I? Carl Kirk asked you to sit at the back of your room to prove that you're a real fan. Oh, Jake Tong. This guy's active, right? Apparently he got the right prediction last week, but he didn't submit it to the website. So I've told him that it doesn't count. Like, simple as that. Like, if you don't put it on the website, you don't get points. So put your prediction in for tomorrow, Jake. Put it on the website. I'll put the website up later for you if you need it. What else are we saying? I'm all good. Daryl Good is all good with whatever happens tomorrow. We can lose. Chaz, why have you moved to the back? Are you being a loyal fan?
I'm being a real Posh fan.
Okay, cool. We can lose against Plymouth tomorrow and that draw. Hang on, is Daryl I'm confused. Is Daryl a Wycombe fan?
No. He's saying
against Plymouth last week. Is that what happened last week?
Yes.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
We lost to Plymouth. He's saying basically we can afford to lose against Plymouth tomorrow and draw with Huddersfield as long as we win everything else. Which
but we're not playing Plymouth tomorrow. That's the point that I'm making.
No, we can. He hasn't said. He can said we can lose against Plymouth and tomorrow. The comma means and tomorrow and draw with Huddersfield. Yeah, I mean it's not the best. It's not the best, but yeah. So this is from the article. Read the article if you haven't. My top tip for Wycombe Away was, as George mentioned, it's very not great to get food outside the ground. So stop at Bulldog Services. If you're not going that way, you won't be there. But a lot of people will go past Bulldog Services on their way to Wycombe. It's about halfway on the journey. And they are one of the best services. You've got such a wide array of food options, all the classics. Plus there's a fish and chip shop. One of my favorite services in the country. So yeah, if you're going there, you want to get some food on the way, Bulldog Services is the one.
But at the same time, you've got to be there early, according to George, haven't you? So who wants to be eating fish and chips at 11 o'clock in the morning?
Surely not if you've booked some parking.
No, you still got to be there. Like, you don't want to be parked to the wrong. And George is right, actually, about if you're not parked in the Sands Park Industrial Estate or at the ground, bloody hell, is it hilly around there? I think I remember the first time that I went with Bob, back when Bob was allowed to go to games, of course. We parked at the top of this hill and it was great getting to the ground because we just coasted all the way down the hill. But Jeezy peeps, man, was that hill a hamstring burner on the way back up to it. Zach's called me a fake fan because I'll be sat at the front row of the stand again tomorrow. Is people are saying that the Traitors is on tonight? Is that right?
It's the final tonight. It's a big one. I'm not into it this year. I usually watch it, I have watched it previously, but I've not been watching it this year. But yeah, a lot of people will be locked in on that right now.
Toby says that Beaconsfield is the one that's got the Nando's. Am I right in saying that? I think I've stopped there with Tom last year when we took Imogen and Charlotte with us. Pretty sure that one's got a Nando's. That's got everything there actually. And Scotty wants to know who is going to win the Traitors. I don't know because I've not watched it. Chaz, have you watched it?
I've heard the Faithfuls this year aren't very good, so I'm backing another Traitor win, but I don't know names.
Didn't they do like didn't they do like a surprise like traitor or something as well.
Yeah,
They're
there
trying
was
to
a
keep it like edgy or something.
Well, they're having to add new stuff. They've added like a confession booth and a secret traitor and stuff. I'm not been into it enough to get into the real nitty gritty analysis. But sorry, what does this mean? From Scotty in the chat, has Chaz had his ears lowered? What does that actually mean?
He's asking you if you've had a haircut.
Right. Yes, I have. I got one today.
Which, of
And
course, you
while I
have.
was at the barber's, I was sat in the chair. This is funny, actually. Sat in the chair with the barber. He goes, he starts talking to me, and he goes, I had a customer in that listens to the podcast, and I was like, oh yeah. And he was like, the bald one on the podcast isn't very good. And I was like, who's the bald one? And he was like, the bald guy. He chats a load of rubbish. The guy that was here the other week was saying the same thing. So I was like, who on the podcast is bald? And I was genuinely doubting myself. Anyway, I had to pull up a picture of the podcast lot, and he pointed to Ash. So apparently my barber and this guy had an appointment a few weeks ago where they were just slagging Ash off for 25 minutes. So there we are. Ash, you've been some hairdresser entertainment.
All I say to them is at me next time. Talk on my name. What was it? Malik Mothersill said, come on, at me, tag me in that abuse. I love it. Scotty, no, I don't know what a gut buster is, but I'm going to be totally honest with you. I don't think it's going to fit in my calories. Lods has goaded me into losing some weight because he posted that thing on Twitter where he said he was going to lose 20 kg by the time that we go to Benidorm for Tom's stag do. So I said, fine, I will match you and I will do 20 kg. And believe it or not, I'm 4.3 kg down in 16 days. No, I have not followed the Steve Evans diet of jabbing myself up. I've just not been eating as much food, which, when you're a big chap like me, 2,800 calories, that's normally about the sweet spot. Fleetwood Zach is giving you some abuse. What does your barber do for a living, Chaz?
Yeah, well, I don't really know what I can say to that, to be honest. Fair enough. I don't mind it, actually. It's all right. My haircuts are always dodgy after the first week, but then they grow out a bit and they look nice. But yeah, no, the fringe grows a lot quicker than the sides. That's the issue. So where the sides now look the right length, the issue is this bit looks really high up, but that'll be down here before you know it.
It's a chaotic cow's lick, isn't it, as well, that you've got?
Yeah, I mean, that's what my barber says to me as well. He's like, there's only so much I can do here, mate. It's like he's fighting a losing battle from the off. Actually, I'm not even doing that,
Yeah, don't do that. God, that hairline is Strugsville.
It's not that bad.
Right, let's not. Look, you've tweeted already that this is a family affair. Let's make it a family affair. Dan, good evening. How are you? Would you like to introduce yourself and tell everyone why it's a family affair if they don't know already?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually Charlie's brother. So there's a bit of nepotism today. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have got my way on here. But nah, I'm a big Posh fan as well. And we got our season tickets at the same time and been going ever since.
And just like Charlie, you've used a word that I don't know what it means. Nepotism. Chaz or Dan, tell me what it means. Please put me out of my misery.
Go on, Charlie.
It's like when a famous person's kids only get jobs or only get famous because they have a famous dad. A lot of people accuse Darren Ferguson of having nepotism towards him because he's Alex Ferguson's son, for example.
But the only reason that you're famous, Charlie, is because Dan, you're an international superstar, aren't you? Tell me about what you do in your free time, because if you haven't tuned in to watch you, Dan, we should, because it's good content, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm a bit biased, but I'd say it's not too bad. So I play wheelchair football for the England senior squad, and I have done for 2 or 3 years now. So we're under the FA banner, and we've had our Euros and World Cup the last few years. So I've been able to go to Venice, Sydney, and then Buenos Aires this year in Argentina for the World Cup in October. Upcoming. So yeah, when I'm not following the Posh, I'm doing that, to be fair, just playing football all the time.
Yeah, no, I obviously have watched many a game of yours, Dan, and will continue to do so. It's a great sport, genuinely, for anyone considering it. Come up to me and ask me about it at a game, or go up to Dan, because we both love to talk about it, and it's really good. I know, Ash, one of your first experiences of it was watching it. Was it on TNT this year? Or the final, the cup
Yeah,
final?
it was. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the competition was, but Dan scored an absolute piss missile, and it was like I said to you, Chaz, didn't I, at the time? I was like, how on earth has he done like the skill to spin and hit the ball and like find the bottom corner essentially? Like, it was really, really interesting to watch, and I think that TNT did a great job on the coverage that they did of the final. Like, it's not something that you would normally see, but they put it straight on TNT Sports, like the first channel. It was there for everybody to see. It was promoted really well, and it is entertaining as well. And I think that it probably, knowing that I know Dan and I speak to Dan, like it's always nice to see people that you know performing on the highest stage in their sport, and that's what you do, Dan, isn't it? You are you might not say it, but I will. You are the golden boy of wheelchair football, aren't you?
I'll let you say it, but Lamine Yamal. Wait, who said that? Nah. I'll take the praise, but yeah, I think I'd recommend anyone to just search it up. I'm sure like the highlights will be on YouTube from our cup finals or anything. Just search up powerchair football, and you'll probably call it Rocket League, but I don't mind that. As long as we get the recognition for the sport and keep growing it, that's all that really matters to me.
Yeah, I mean, look up. I think if you look up Aspire versus West Brom on YouTube, you can find the highlights, and they're a really, really good watch. You got a lot of love in the chat, Dan, from Raf, from Alex, from Howard, from Mark, all gassing you up. But what you're not here to talk about is yourself for the whole time. So let's get on to a bit of Posh, because as you mentioned, you're a massive Posh fan like me. What are your thoughts on the season so far?
I think, like all Posh fans, I found the first month and a half a bit depressing. I was getting myself up for every game and then coming home absolutely fuming. Obviously, I think Fergie was the problem, as I'm sure a lot of other people sort of did at the time, and I was quite keen. I could see even after the first couple of games that he wasn't getting a tune out of these players, and I think with like how much of a young squad we've got, and I think we've got a team of sort of flair players, a lot in attack with Lisby, Frith, and then young players just need confidence, and that's how I feel anyway. And I think maybe Fergie lost the dressing room a little bit towards the end of his tenure, so I think we needed something fresh and someone with new ideas, because as much as I think Fergie's probably the best ever manager for Peterborough, or at least the best that I've seen in sort of my 10 or so years watching, all things have got to come to an end, and from what I've seen so far, I've absolutely loved Edwards, so can't really complain.
Edwards? Who are you on about? You mean Luke
Williams? Luke Williams, yeah. Oh no.
You're making yourself look like a right pretender, Posh. Anyway, what have you thought of Luke Williams in a bit more detail then? Obviously, we've been on great form since he came in. What have you most enjoyed about the way he's changed things?
I think in the first couple of games, especially the home games like Cardiff, Wimbledon, Stockport, where we had the really dominant wins, I think we just really went back to the basics. And what was so good in sort of the 23-24 season, which was our last really good season before Williams had come in, was, for me, I think just out wide, we've always been fantastic in the Peterborough teams that I've watched. And Mason Clark and Poku obviously made that a lot easier. But even back then, the fullbacks just ran off the wingers so well. And I think we really lost that at the start of this season. Like, the patterns of play just weren't there in attack, and we felt so aimless, I think, when we went forward. And I think with Williams coming in, we became so efficient again in terms of every time we went forward. Especially, I think, like referencing the Wimbledon and Stockport game, we just looked like we could score, and it was so simple. It was just the fullback making overlapping and underlapping runs, and suddenly we were in on goal. So that was really refreshing to see, rather than just passing it around side to side for 30 minutes and then conceding a scrappy goal.
Dan, you mentioned obviously exciting wingers there. What are your thoughts on, like, I think this is going to be a debate of topic. Like every time that Garbett has a good game and he's playing right wing, like we won't talk about it. But then when he has one of those like lower level games, you always think, oh, it'd be nice to see him back in the 10. What are your thoughts on him being our right winger as such? And where would you want to see Matthew Garbett play?
I think it's one of them where everyone's been saying, I completely agree, he's probably too good for this level. So I think you play him anywhere and he doesn't look out of position. Play him at centre back, play him in goal. I don't think it matters. But I think I'd like to see him in the number 10 probably a little bit more, because I think I remember sort of the first 25 minutes at Lincoln. Some of the passes he was playing I thought were excellent. And I just think he's such a creative player. And maybe when he's on the right, we don't get that. He's such a powerful runner and we don't get those driving runs through the middle for him to then be able to find a nice pass into the wingers. So I think I'd like to see him in the 10 a bit more. And with I think if Jimmy J Morgan gets a rest in one of the next few games, I think we could see that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Jimmy J Morgan was bullied last week. Out on that right-hand side then, we saw Frith and Cian Hayes both get some minutes in the week for the under-21s. Both scored and assisted a couple, I think, which you'd expect them to do at that level. Who do you prefer out of those two? If, let's say, Garbett was confirmed to be in the 10 tomorrow and we were going to play one of those two right wingers, which one would you go with from the start?
I absolutely love Hayes, to be honest. I think I can see Ashley's reaction to that, but I think he was one of for me, the bright sparks in a really, really poor season last season. I think he still is quite raw. He lacks end products, but as does Lisby on the other side, and I think he's been good under Williams so far. So I think it's one of them where we've not really got any top wingers, I don't think, at the club right now, like of the caliber that we have with Mason Clark and Poku. But I think the end product will come, and I think because they're so skillful, so fast, and they get themselves in good areas now, I think that's bound to come. And I just love Hayes, and I think every time I don't think he's looked the best when he's come on the last couple of games. I think he's looked a little bit rusty, but I think we need to get minutes in the tank back at the senior level and see how he fares.
Yeah, Wycombe away then tomorrow. You were at Wycombe last year, if I remember rightly. It's not a happy hunting ground for Posh. What are you expecting from the game?
Yeah, no, last year was horrible. I remember we weren't in the trenches at the time. It was still early in the season, so I was still a bit optimistic because we were quite good going forward at the start of last season. Obviously, I think like Poku, like Randall was playing okay at that time. Mothersill, Ricky, like they were all working well. And I thought it wasn't a huge loss from the season before, but obviously that turned out to be different. And then Richard Kone came on and scored a 10-minute hat-trick, absolute daggers. But no, I think I hate going there. Like, obviously I went last year and I remember watching even the game of the year before that was the real Billowgate, wasn't it, with those mistakes. And they went in singing for Jed Steer. But yeah, I think obviously they're on good form. I looked earlier, and if you look on the form for sort of the last 15, 20 games, they've kind of matched us. Ever since Michael Duff came in, they've sort of done what we did and sacked a manager and then had a really quick turnaround, and they had a really good October and November. So obviously they're around where we are in the table. I'm sure they probably have aspirations, as was said earlier, of going up or at least getting playoffs. Like we do. So I think it will be a tricky game, but I feel like the players will be feeling a bit like they maybe let us down a bit against Plymouth on Saturday, which I thought was a really disappointing and kind of uncharacteristic performance from us under Williams. So I think I'm going to go positive and hope that we can bounce back in style, and a 2-0 win for me. Yeah.
Oh, he's gone early with the score prediction. I was going to say Harry Leonard's not in the team. So, well, Harry Leonard might not be in the team, sorry. We're hoping that he will be if he passes concussion protocol. But let's imagine he's not for a second, Dan. What is what is the extent to which you think that's a loss for us? And let's say he is in the team. What is the strongest lineup we can put out for tomorrow in your view?
I think it's a really big loss because I think Jimmy J Morgan's a great player, but I think Harry Leonard's someone who's just got a real killer instinct and that like hunger for goals. It's just simple things like even the goal against Lincoln, where he's just always seems to be in the right place to me. You know that when someone puts a low ball into the box, he's always going to find himself in the right area, and more often than not, he scores. I know he's missed a few chances, but I think sort of the ratio that he scores to doesn't score on is a great record, and I'm sure he'll go on to keep doing great things for us when he does come back. But I think if he is playing, I'd probably drop Jimmy J Morgan based on just the last performance or two. I think he's looked a bit not disinterested, just a bit maybe tired because he's been playing a lot more than he had done for the few games in December. And I think I'd probably go with Lisby, and then obviously we had the little debate, but one of Hayes or Frith on the right, and then I'd probably move Garbutt into the number 10. As I said, I think the power that he brings running through the middle, and then obviously just the sheer quality with his passes are incredible.
Dan, obviously no Kioso tomorrow, no Adebisi, no Mills, no Sam Hughes, no David Cadbu, no Tom O'Connor. So we are threadbare. I think that the back four pretty much picks itself. But what are your thoughts on the potential replacements? Obviously, so we're going to assume that JD plays right back. We'll assume that CJ plays left back. Then we'll have Ginev and Tom Lees in the middle. We need to bring in some defenders from the under-21s. Are you familiar with the under-21s? Is there anyone in particular that you would bring in?
I can't say I'm massively familiar with the under-21s, but what I can say is, yeah, we are in a bit of a sticky situation, aren't we? I don't even think it's massively at the fault of we've not had the depth. It just like all of these injury problems seem to have come around at once. But I think CJ's kind of earned himself this role over the last few games. Maybe he wasn't the best last weekend, but he's shown that he can lead the team well. And before that, I think he played quite well over the sort of Christmas festive period, and against Bolton, I thought he had a good game as well. So that's a positive, and I think it'll be interesting to see how JD gets on because we've really not seen much of him, have we? But I do think Kioso has been really, really poor recently, as a lot of other Posh fans have from what I've seen on social media and even heard around the ground. I just think I think it was a really good sort of vibe around him when he came back in because of where we were at such a bad time, and maybe people, including myself, made excuses for him in terms of he's playing with bad players. It's just once we bring in better players and the form picks up, he'll look like he did when he was with us before. But I don't think he's ever really, other than maybe one or two good games, I don't think he's ever really rediscovered that form massively. So I am a bit worried about the depth of the squad, and maybe we're going to need to look elsewhere as well as just the academy.
Yeah, I mean, on PK, he has been struggling. And I think I agree with you, Dan. People were making excuses for him massively. I think it was more just like that cope, that trying to not accept that he might not be that same player. I think in the first couple of games under Williams, he looked really, really good and looked back to his former self. And that sort of saved him as well a little bit. But, you mentioned fans singing for Jed Steer at Wycombe Way a couple of seasons ago. Well, actually, genuinely this happened, and I didn't mention this on Final Whistle because I forgot, and I don't know whether you would have heard this, Ash, but when Kioso let a ball roll out under his foot or something, it was a mistake that he made against Plymouth. A good chunk of the GH actually started singing the James Dornelly song, which is really interesting, like the clamour for JD now. So he's going to get his opportunity. Dan, you sort of gave us a bit of a sneak peek earlier, but you seem confident that Posh are going to find a way to get the win. Let's just fingers crossed that everything goes right. But give me your score prediction, your first Posh goal scorer, and yeah, just a little rundown as well of how you think the game might go down in terms of, the scoring pattern. Will we score early? Will it be a late rally?
I'm going to actually go for a bit of a rogue one. My score prediction is a 2-0 win. I think the defence is going to rally together, and I'm sure we're going to have the flair and quality up front to score the goals. But I'm actually going to go Keller for the first goal. I can see him, arriving late in the box, little box crasher, and just he's a tidy footballer, isn't he? It was a good finish away at Rotherham, and I've liked what I've seen from him, to be fair, in terms of the technical ability. Maybe you can do a little bit more in terms of controlling the game in the middle, but seems like a good player so far. So I'm going to go with him for the first goal scorer. And yeah, I think it does change a lot if Leonard does play compared to if he doesn't with my score prediction. So I'm a bit less confident about the win if Leonard doesn't play, but I still feel like people can, like Jimmy J Morgan can probably slot in and do a job, and we'll obviously have the people behind him to help out as well.
Wicked. I think we're there, Dan, aren't we? You got anything else you want to add? Anything you want to promote whilst you're here, Dan? When's your next? Have you got another before? Because you said you've got a World Cup this year, haven't you?
Yeah.
Have you got anything before that? Like finals at the end of the season, I guess?
Yeah, that's kind of the
Hopefully.
next thing. Obviously, it's sort of a Community Shield game that will be on our version of the Community Shield will be on TNT Sports again this year. So if we make it to that, can't make any assumptions, but if we do make it to that, I'll get Charlie the link, and hopefully a few people can tune in and have a little look at what it's all about.
I will be there no matter what, and you will be there no matter what, because I'm confident that you will win the lot again. I put just for anybody that didn't see, I did put the YouTube link to Aspire, who is Dan's team versus West Brom. That is the one, isn't it? I don't know if you clicked on the link, Chaz. That is the one that was on that I watched, wasn't it?
I think I haven't clicked the link, but I assume it will be the one that
it
they
2-1?
won. Yeah, the 2-1 win. Yeah,
that's the one.
Dan got man of the match. Yeah.
Yes.
There we are.
Right, wicked, Dan. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
And we'll see you tomorrow. Well, I will. Yeah.
Yep, so I'll be there no matter what, as you say.
All the McClellans. Thanks, Dan.
Right.
Chaz. Shall we?
I've got a couple of topics.
Let's go. Have you? Can we do predictions first? Should we get that? Because I don't want to leave that right until the end. So I'm going to change my banner at the bottom to remind everybody to enter their score predictions for the Next Level Barbell Club Predictions League at www.theposhcast.com/NLBC-predictions-league. And without that, look, we'll do as we always do. I am going to pull up the predictions. I will talk through mine and the other four hosts, and then Chaz can explain his. So I've gone with the 2-0 Posh win. I've gone with the same prediction as Dan, and I've got own goal for my first goal scorer, because I think that Will Norris is going to basically drop the ball in the back of the net. He's going to catch it, fumble it. It's going to come off his back. Then it's going to go off his heel. Then it's going to go in, and we're going to win 2-0. Harry has gone for a Posh loss. John has also gone for a Posh loss, and Lods has also gone for a Posh loss. Harry and John are both 2-1, and Lods is 1-0. So obviously no first goal scorer for Lods. Harry has gone Matthew Garbett for his first goal scorer, and John's gone Jimmy J Morgan. And then Max, well, goodness, did this man wake up on the wrong side of the bed this morning? Captain Positivity has predicted Posh to lose 4-0 tomorrow. This is a man that does not like going to Wycombe, and I don't think that I can get much worse than that, Chaz, other than maybe you talking through yours and explaining.
Right. So basically, right. I genuinely have reason to believe that Carl Johnston is going to score a winner in a 1-0 win tomorrow. The reason being, Ash and I, as I mentioned at the start, went to this event last night, and it was fantastically well run by Smart Solutions, who are a big partner of the club. They do a lot of the video content that you see where they've got the players, and they're doing 2v2 challenges and stuff. Anyway, there were two Posh players there. The fullbacks, the incredible fullbacks, James Dornelli and CJ, Carl Johnston. And we basically ended up having a conversation about, goal scoring, because we had a laugh about that moment against Plymouth where the ball came to CJ on the edge of the box, which apparently was not planned, and it was blazed over the bar. And we were talking about CJ's record, and he says that in every year, in every season of his career, he's scored a goal, and he's not scored one yet this season. So then I got thinking, Wycombe away, break the curse. And then Ash did some research, and we've got, wow, I think we may see a goal.
No. You've oversold this. CJ promoted this goal to us. He literally told
us to watch it. Yeah,
he ran it through like piece by piece. This man has not forgotten this goal. This is somebody that scores not very many goals. So I found the clip. I'm gonna play it for everybody to see, and I'm not going to talk over it. I'm just going to let everybody enjoy it, and then we'll dip in, and then I'll play it again so that everybody can watch it because it's an absolutely quality game. This is a man of his word. He literally said it came in from the left wing. So this was when he was at Fleetwood. They were playing at Port Vale. He said that they were playing 3 at the back or a 5 at the back with wing backs. The left wing back overhit the cross, I'm saying. I don't think he used those words yesterday. I think he said that his left wing back found him at the back post and he's buried it. What a strike that was. So CJ hasn't scored in a competitive game for Peterborough United. He scored lots of goals in the under-21s, but he also said that his go-to celebration is a knee slide. I corrected him and said that he's going to have to hit 2 celebrations tomorrow if he scores because he's got a baby on the way. So he's going to have to do knee slide. What is it, like the pram, or like push the pram, or like suck the thumb? Maybe he's just going to hit all like 4 of them. Like, who knows what's going to happen? Lods can't believe that CJ. Well, it is.
I can believe it. That man has an array of qualities on a football pitch. I can completely understand that being Carl Johnston. And yeah, I think he's going to score a goal of a similar ilk. What I think it's going to be a different technique. With that one, he sort of passed it into the bottom corner. It was real quality. This one he's going to do, and I don't know really how to describe the technique other than his foot is going to just like, it's going to be one of those daisy cutter style techniques, where you've got sort of your toe, your big toe curled. It's right down there. It's going to be right across the floor from the edge of the box. It's going to be a worldie in the second half. Decently late on, he's going to hit that knee slide and suck his finger in front of the Posh fans. And yeah, it's going to be absolutely quality. Hang
on, Lods has reminded me of the all-time classic. He's got to do the ball under the top. Whilst knee sliding, ball under the top, and then pull the knee slide out. So it's like a pregnant knee slide, essentially. What is this? What is this show? So basically, if a Posh player wants to have themselves predicted as the first goal scorer, just talk to Charlie.
Just tell me about your goals that you've scored. And
there is no way that you had that ball prepped. That's not how long is that? You did not have that.
Okay. Anyway, back onto the chat. Daryl has come up with the worst prediction. You know what's less likely than my score prediction? It's Daryl Goodless' prediction of Kioso to score an own goal. If Kioso, while suspended, manages to score an own goal, then I cannot believe it. I will not believe my eyes if Kioso manages to score an own goal tomorrow. I just would be unbelievable. Josh has come in with a 3-1 Posh Jimmy J Hayes to score. I assume he means Jimmy J and Hayes, not some weird combo of Jimmy J Hayes. Raf D has gone with, I always get the result wrong, so 2-2 or 2-1 to Wycombe Keller. Now, oh my God, the chat's going off anyway. Now I'm going to come in with a bit of a random thought that I had in the week about the midfield while Ash loses his mind. I would drop Brandon Keller for tomorrow's game. He would not be in my starting lineup. Neither would Ben Woods, because I am bringing back in Donné, O'Brien, Brady. I think his performance at Rotherham when he started was excellent. Like, I've watched that game back fully. He was pretty perfect, to be honest. It was an amazing performance from him in the midfield. We're going to have to be a bit stronger and more compact away at Adams Park tomorrow. And sorry, the chat. And I just
I can't believe that. Can somebody get a screenshot and tweet me that of that ball? No, right. I'm going to stop you there. I don't disagree with you on Donny O'Brien Brady. I think there is a chance that we see him tomorrow. However, Ben Woods, I saw him recently and I told him that he needed to get a haircut because Ben Woods gets his haircut at the same place that I do. You know, so does Harry Leonard, so does CJ, so does Will Blackmore. You know, I know a good place to get my haircut, right? And I said, you need to get a haircut, man. Come on, you're normally like every 2-3 weeks or something. And he was like, no, I'm not going to get a haircut until I'm ready to go back playing. What did I see on Wednesday or Thursday this week? Ben Woods got a trim. Is that a confirmed return from injury? I don't know.
I don't know the relevance. I don't. Well, you know,
I'm not getting a haircut until I'm going to be back playing. That's the relevance.
Yeah.
Is he going to be back in the squad at the weekend?
Maybe he will. Maybe you're right. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if we can take much that's said around haircuts into consideration, considering my barber told me today that you speak a load of rubbish. So I don't know if we can really.
Your barber fucked you up, should I add?
No, he didn't. Anyway, what else have we got? Because this is chaos. Okay. I actually did say earlier this week that I have been thinking of a plan. So imagine, I'm pretty confident Harry Leonard's going to play tomorrow and going to be absolutely fine. But let's say he isn't. I have a tactical plan in place in my mind that I'm now going to explain in a very animated way that I think could be the key to success tomorrow. So, Harry Leonard not being up front, what does that remove us of? Sort of our focal point. Even if Jimmy J's up front, it gets rid of that sort of focal point and that physical, you know, you think like the header he won against Bolton, we're not going to win that sort of flick on. So we're going to have to find a different way to build up because we're not going to have someone holding up the ball. So I think we're going to have to play counter-attacking football, mostly tomorrow, very counter-attacking. And I think as well, that will lead to us sitting a little bit deeper. Now, why is it good that we sit a little bit deeper? Because I think we will be putting out the slowest central defensive partnership in Peterborough United history tomorrow with George Nevitt and Tom Lees. They are not the quickest. So by sitting a little bit deeper, we alleviate some of the stress off of them running too much, right? And getting run in behind by players like Onyedinma, for example, who's been in great form. We then have the fullbacks. And then
pause 1 second. I didn't want to say this whilst the Wycombe fan was on. He said that Onyedinma has been in great form. He scored 2 goals in his most recent game, and then the last time he scored was like October last year. Like, let's not like overplay it or anything. Like he's
their top scorer.
Goals.
He's their top scorer. I mean, 7 goals.
Difficult for a team like Wycombe, is it?
Yeah, I agree. But imagine Onyedinma's on form. Those 2 goals have skyrocketed his confidence, and he's that sort of top championship player that he's been described as. We are going to sit a bit deeper, which will counteract him. And then the whole team will sit deeper. We're going to have wide players. I think we will start one of the right wingers, or in my plan, at least, we should start one of them. We'll have either Hayes on the right wing, or maybe Frith, Lisby on the other wing. We will then sit back a little bit, absorb some pressure, counter-attack, George Nevitt hitting diags, CJ hitting diags, arriving late into the box, scoring the winner. And we will then have the 2 wide players, Lisby and Frith or Hayes, playing a little bit further inside, so that they are going to be basically Jimmy J is going to play as a false 9. So he'll play up front, he'll start up front, he'll play as a false 9, he'll drop deeper, hopefully pulling a centre-back with him. And then Lisby and Frith will watch the fingers, run around the back of their defenders and in behind. And we're just going to need them to perform. And if we do that and the players follow that tactical plan, if any of the players are listening right now, sort off what Williams has told you in the week. If Harry Leonard isn't fit, play the way that I've just described. It ends with a 1-0 Posh win. And fantastic. What is going on?
Shut the fuck up, man. Do not ignore what Luke Williams has said. But, Charles, I do agree with you. What better way to relieve the pressure on George Nevitt and Tom Lees by closing the gap between themselves and Alex Bass, a man that is very confident at catching the ball. Anything over the top, Alex Bass is there, pluck it out the sky. I do think, however, that what a lovely story it would be if Pemi Aderoju were to score his first EFL goal tomorrow. This was, of course, the place where he... yeah, Carl, good one. Yeah. We all must listen to the man who wears his jacket inside out. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and also, can you have a word with your barber, right? Dino said it. How have I been the one that's been accused of like not chatting nonsense when you've just gone on a rampage and then you've like watched the fingers switch around? Like, yeah, long-winded whiffle. Pemi's going to score.
Did you
tomorrow.
say long-winded whiffle?
We're an hour in now, right, Chaz? I think it's time. I think it's time to call it. I think it's time to call it quits. Pemi's going to score tomorrow, but he's not going to be the first goal scorer because Will Norris is going to throw it in the back of his net. He made his debut, didn't he, in that 5-2 loss, and he looked good. You got anything else to add, Chaz?
I mean, as long as David Kamara doesn't play, I'm fine with it. Like, just keep him away from the squad. Then me and Harry will be absolutely fine with the game. I don't see Pemi starting, to be honest, and I don't think he'd be particularly effective if he did. What I think we should be doing is getting the wingers in behind and playing Jimmy J as a false nine. But disregard all of that anyway, because I think that Harry Leonard is going to be fit and raring to go and starting up front for us. And yeah, I don't think the club... I think by the sounds of things, he's ready to play. He's fit enough to play. It's just whether the protocol is basically rules him out. And well, you'd hope that the protocol is sensible enough that if a player is fit and ready to play, then they should be able to play. You'd hope that the protocol works like that. It might not, but yeah. I don't think we used a concussion sub for Leonard, so hopefully that'll work in our favor too. So I'm pretty confident that he'll be starting, and if he does, well, we play the normal way. Other than I'm also with my brother about dropping Jimmy J Morgan and getting a bit of width into the team because I think we've sorely missed it in recent weeks.
Yeah, well, we don't need any width, do we? Because JD's going to whip a ball into the far stick and CJ's going to put the ball in the back of the net. What more positive way? And we're going to win 1-0. Chaz, let's just manifest that, because as long as it happens in the second half or the half that Posh are attacking the away end, we don't want any of this scoring down the far end nonsense if we're only going to win 1-0. We want it to be like 85th minute, like surging forwards for the win. Like maybe it'll be a break from a corner or something. JD and CJ, the only two that are marauding forwards because everybody else is knackered on their legs. I think that's enough rambling for tonight, isn't it, Chaz? What do you reckon? Should we call it quits there?
Yeah, I think someone's just asked to put my brother up top, so I think we should call it there. I think
that's a good time to finish it, isn't it? Thank you to everybody that's tuned in. You know what? I've had a great time tonight.
It's enjoyable.
I did not expect Chaz to pull out the paid actor, as Colkert puts it, of the football and put that. But fingers crossed that CJ does score, picks the ball up, puts it under the top, sucks on his thumb, does a knee slide, the whole shebang, and then he can jump into the crowd if he wants. What absolute limbs that would be.
There we are.
Up the Poshcast.